Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the Green Stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. And this is a channel all about cross stitch and sometimes a bit of sewing and quilting. But today we're going to talk mostly about cross stitch. So as you've seen from the title of this video, this is going to be my 2024 finish parade. I will talk a little bit about the numbers in the first couple of minutes of the video, and then we'll look at everything that I finished and fully finished in 2024. If you haven't seen it already, I'll put the link up here to the video with all of the whips that I've taken with me into 2025 and my 2025 plans as well. I always feel like those two kind of go together, so I usually film both the whip parade and the plans for the new year together in one video. So if you want to see how many stitches and how much progress I've done on the whips, you can watch that. And today, like I said, it's going to be only about all the finishes, all the FFOs. For anyone returning to my channel, welcome back. Anyone new, welcome, and I hope you'll enjoy this and decide to subscribe and stick around. I am a cross stitcher from Belarus who lives in the UK. I have been living here for about 6.5 years now with my husband and our 2 cats. And I've been cross stitching for about 10 years now, about 9.5 probably. And yeah, I really love it. I do it as much as I can, but with a full-time job, it's a few hours a day here and there, if that, and it's probably not every single day, unfortunately. I stitch a variety of different designers and styles. I FFO all of my own pieces. I like to sew as well as frame things. So all of the FFOs you'll be seeing today and probably in all of my videos are going to be done by myself. Chosen, done, executed, the process and everything. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one, I hope. Like I said, I hope you'll stick around. So first and foremost, I have said it in the whips video, but I'll repeat here again. I use Cross Stitch Saga app to track number of stitches on all of my whips and to actually, stitch with. And then I have a spreadsheet in Excel that I've created for myself where I keep progress and track progress over all of the whips at once over the week, month, year, and so on. So I know exactly how many stitches I've done this year, well, in 2024, and that is 140,000 stitches, and that is the maths that's based on calculations where one cross is 1 stitch, and then 2 half stitches is 1, and then two stitches of back stitch is 1 as well. So everything's kind of based on a cross stitch in those calculations. That is a little less than in 2023, which was 160,000, but I am quite happy about the amount and the percentage of stitching that went into this or that kind of project. 2/3 of my stitches went into finishing things and 1/3 into the whips that I've taken into the new year. So I feel like that's quite a good progress. I'll be showing you things here from smallest to largest, not in any particular chronological order. Out of 42 projects that I touched in 2024, I finished 26. FFO'd 24 of them, and also FFO'd a couple of projects that I finished before 2024, and I took 16 whips with me into the new year. So that's probably all for the numbers. I am here in the living room, different location. I do prefer to kind of dress up for these end of the year videos. Try to film it in front of our Christmas tree. This year it's a bit bare because cats keep on stealing ornaments from here. Put up the fireplace video on TV, so hopefully we're all cozied up with a cup of tea or coffee, and let's get started and let's have a look at all of the finishes and FFOs I had in 2024. So first I'll show you 2 projects that were finished this year but didn't get fully finished. And let's start strong with the biggest design finished in 2024, and that is the Japanese garden by Dimensions. This was my oldest WIP, started in February of 2020. It was a gift from my sister, the kit, a few years ago, and I was stitching it to kind of support the intention of going to Japan and visiting my sister in 2020. Unfortunately, as you might have guessed, it didn't happen because of COVID, and it took me a while to come back to it because of that as well. But this year, finally, I've spent quite some time giving it some love and attention and finished it in October, I believe. And this design was stitched on the kit fabric, which was 16 count light blue Ada. All of the kit flosses, all of the strands that they call for, and it's a beauty. I absolutely love it now that it's done. I am very excited to FFO it, but with these bigger ones it takes me a while sometimes to kind of choose how exactly I want to FFO them, and yeah, I feel like the big Dimensions ones look really nice with kind of a couple of mats with like a little border around them with a good frame. So yeah, it's gonna take some time, but it's going to be FFO'd at some point, of course. And then the other project that I finished this year but haven't FFO'd is a new-ish designer to me. They're definitely not new to everyone. It's Shepherd's Bush. I only discovered them, I think, last year and absolutely fell in love. I stitched one design from them last year on 36 count 1/2 with DMC, and then I got quite a few booklets, both vintage and new ones, and kits as well. This is where's my cheat sheet? I've got all of my finishes written down. This is the Herb Garden by Shepherd's Bush. It's one of the smaller ones, and it's one of the vintage ones as well. This one calls for all DMC colors. The only thing I changed is the color and some of the patterns in these straight satin stitches, and I used, I think it was a Karen Wildflowers, which is like a pearl thickness. I think originally it's meant to be on a cream linen, but I used like a mocha Witcheld, I think. Absolutely love this, and the reason you're seeing it on a scroll frame and why I haven't FFO'd it either is this piece of fabric was really long and it was perfectly fitting two of these, and I have a companion piece to it, which is the Orchard that I'm planning to stitch in 2025. And then, like I said, the rest of my designs got FFO'd, so let's start from a few tiny finishes, and those are my Mill Hills. I do love stitching Mill Hill, both, ornaments that are fully beaded and designs with both beads and flosses, and square, bigger designs. So this year I stitched Father Christmas. I think that's the name. Let me have a look. Yes, that's Father Christmas. This one is fully beaded, and I backed it with some green felt and added a golden string to put it on the tree. And then I also stitched a Christmas tree that is fully beaded as well. Same FFOing, I just backed them with felt, I glue it on it and sew it on, and golden string. And these are really lovely to stitch, on the go. Well, maybe not the fully beaded ones, but while you're doing something else, watching some Flosstube, or I stitched both while playing Witcher 3 or replaying Witcher 3, because it has quite a lot of lengthy dialogues in the game, so while you're just clicking through the options and listening to everything, it's nice to have a small project going. Then I stitched another snowflake from the series of snowflakes that I'm doing, and this one is Victorian snowflake. It's very shiny because it uses golden perforated paper, and this one is fully beaded as well. Yes, it is. There's no stitching here, There's some bugle beads, some round ones, and it's absolutely gorgeous on the tree. I'm hoping you'll be able to see the shine on it. It's absolutely beautiful. White felt here and same golden. I bought a whole spool of this golden wire string so I can FFO all of my ornaments the same way. The next mill hill was Harvest Wagon, which is one of the autumn designs. I got this from a stitchy friend as a gift, and it's been sat in my stash for a bit, and then I decided it was time for it to get stitched up. Because it's an autumn one, I FFO'd it with felt and a magnet. I don't think the magnet came in this kit. It might have been from a different mill hill kit. But I keep these on my needle minder board with some of the other autumn mill hills in autumn, and then swap them with seasons most of the time. So it's got lovely pumpkins and apples, and I do love autumn probably most of all the other seasons, so this was lovely to stitch. And then I stitched my first mill hill Santa. So this was Santa with cardinal, and it's again, I stitched it using everything from the kit, 14 count perforated paper, brown one, all of the DMC flosses, all the beads. The only thing I've changed, I'm hoping you'll be able to see, is I had some leftover Riolis woolen acrylic flosses that are nice and fluffy, you know? So I've used this 2/1 in the coat, and then the rest of the DMC colors are stitched 3/1. Lovely, lovely Santa. I loved making him the beard and the mustache. The bird is stitched separately and then kind of glued on top there. I back them with felt again, and these the ones that are slightly bigger than your like ornament size, I use these little tree stumps that are made for like name cards, name placement cards, and I just keep a piece of perforated paper there at the bottom when I'm cutting it out, and then I just slot them in and they stand there quite nicely. I couldn't find any stands for these, so I've just decided to do this. I think I've shown on the channel in a shorts video how I do this. So really love this Santa. Gorgeous coat, really lovely beads. I have another one in my stash that I'm going to stitch at some point. And then I also stitched 2 Mill Hill gnomes this year. So first one was gnome with ornaments. And this is from the series of red and green gnomes, where there's only 5 of them for some reason. I feel like all of the Mill Hill series have 6. Again, backed with felt, and they're slotted in again in this piece of wood. Love this one. The ornaments are lovely, and the beads are lovely as well. And then the other one, and this was the last one in my series, so I've done all 5 now. And I kept on saying in my previous videos I started the series in 2024. I did not. I started it in 2023, so it spanned 2 years, unfortunately. This is gnome with tree. And the only thing I changed here is I added this golden metallic to decorate the tree a bit more. So I think it's quite lovely. Same FFOing again, same felt, and then I slotted them into the wood so they stand up and they live for now during the season on our bookshelves in the living room. Absolutely love these. And then let me show you the last Mill Hill from this year then. I also stitched a slightly larger Mill Hill. So in June I started this B square design that is a vintage and got re-released a couple of years ago, I think. I got it in a craft store in Wales. And it was a start for my friend's birthday, who loves everything to do with bees and bumblebees, and I absolutely love this one. I was a little bit intimidated to stitch so many like specialty stitches, and a lot of the specialty stitches that use beads, but then I started it and it was just fine. So uses everything from the kit. I haven't changed a single thing here. The only thing I've done accidentally is the tiny golden beads are supposed to be stitched with half stitches. I didn't read the instructions properly, so I just did them as full stitches, same as the black tiny beads. But yeah, I had this frame prepared for a different Mill Hill design, but I thought that this one would work here really well, and that other design is an autumn one, so I felt like I could swap them with seasons then, and that would be just fine. Loved these checker straight satin stitches here in green. Absolutely love this. If you can get your hands on it somehow, I don't know if they're still available, I would really recommend, because it's a lot of fun stitching this one. Next, I stitched a lovely cat. This one is by a Russian designer who goes under Mandarings on Instagram, and I think she is the same on Etsy. You can message her and ask for this one because it was a freebie, I believe, but I'm not sure how sort of responsive she is at the moment. So this is a design inspired, I imagine, by Laurel Birch cats and other animals, and this one uses all the called for DMC colors, except because I stitched mine on perforated paper, I did 3/1 instead of 2. I added metallics into the sun and the moon and the eyes of the cat as well. Changed the eyes slightly. And what I absolutely loved are these star-shaped sequins you can see glistening there. And I just took Mill Hill beads from my stash for this design because I didn't have the called for. I FFO'd it just again with felt and a magnet, and again this lovely cat lives on my needle minder magnetic board. Though it could be on the Christmas tree as well, to be honest, but I feel like it's a bit too big for that. Love it. What else? Let's look at these then. So there were a few other smaller designs that I stitched this year. Let's start with my first ever hands-on design called Mary Berry. And it is part of the Squareology series, but I don't know if they're still available. I had a look on 123 the other day and I couldn't find them. This one was stitched on 32 count charcoal grey Belfast, I believe. It uses 6 colors. I think it's all calling for weeks that works, but for such a tiny one I just took whatever stash colors I had. And then I got the embellishment pack separately with all the lovely little beads, and FFO'd it on a piece of a birch cut off. I've done this before for some of the smaller designs that I gifted to my mum, and then I just painted it white on the front and added this lovely cord around it and a bit of padding, as you can see, so it kind of stands out a little. Love this one. I haven't added any kind of loop to hang it on the wall yet, but it's been set again on our bookshelves in the living room here, just leaning against the books, and it's been great. Loved stitching this. I just love these vibrant sort of red shades against the paler, gentler creams and greens. Next, I stitched I FFO'd 2 designs into cross stitch pillows. First time I ever did a pillow this year. Like I said, 2 of them. First one was a Hello from Liz Matthews design called Boo, that I stitched for Stephanie's birthday. Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. She was hosting a birthday sale in July, inviting us all to stitch on any Liz Matthews designs. So I chose this. And then I hand dyed 32 count Belfast for this and stitched everything with stash over dyes and changed a few colors here and there. And I love it. I think it's perfect. So adorable. I've got 2 black cats, so here we go. And then I added a patch of felt on the back and the button just for fun. And I love how this turned out. And then the other one that you haven't seen the FFO of just yet is a design by the lovely Cotton Pixels. I'll insert the picture here because I've changed it quite a bit. So she has this series, she's an English designer, I believe. She has this series of cat designs in different locations or in different holidays. And when I saw this in the Krusty shop in Wales, I fell in love, had to have it. I think I stitched it pretty much straight away as well in summer. And I FFO'd it into this tiny pillow. So this is 32 count vintage blue Belfast. I stitched with all the called for, except, and this can be a list, except I changed the color of the green. Instead of using the DMC, different DMC shades, I used one Karen Wildflower 1/2 for the border and for some of the leaves here. Then obviously, as you can see, I've added another black cat because I have 2. Valera, the boy, is a bit bigger, a bit more brave and adventurous. He ventures out into the garden when we let him under our supervision. And then Moira here is the baby girl, and she's tiny and she's a scaredy cat, and she is stitched in DMC color, the same as the tail, to kind of show, you know, the front and back plane, and Valera is stitched in beads as called for. So they're absolutely adorable. And I've moved around the birds and the butterflies because I wanted to sew on a Mill Hill button I had in stash. And then once I finished all the stitching, it didn't fit in there, it was too large, and so I left it out in the end. I used this lovely red rickrack to FFO it. This lovely mottled blue that I used in a project bag before. So I tried to do everything from stash. And again, a piece of felt, hand stitched it with the same color green as I used in the design, and sewed on this lovely button. So I love stitching pillows this year. I'm going to make it my goal to stitch more in 2025 and FFO them all. I have a couple of long and skinny wooden trays that I've put on my windowsill in front of myself in the hobby room, and I would love to stitch more of these and have them, you know, set there all together, all kinds. And I also have a companion piece to this that I haven't stitched yet, so that would be fun. Another smaller design I stitched this year is from another British designer called Innocent Bones. And she is someone who designs in this kind of traditional tattoo style, spooky, Halloween, monsters, tarot cards, all of the fun stuff. So I got this as a gift from my husband for Valentine's Day, the pattern, and this is the crafted tarot card from her. I stitched it on 25 count gray linen, and because it's 25 count, I stitched 3/2. And because it's a gray linen and I wanted to keep the whole kind of color palette cool, I've swapped the background color and the roses, this darker color, for the ones you can see here. Love, love, love how it turned out. And then what I've done with the FFO of this is I've used this lovely fabric with all the lovely spooky mystical things, and I made myself a floss organizer that hosts all of the sort of most basic DMC colors. So I use these floss cards to keep my DMC leftovers on from kits and all sorts of stuff, and so I've put here like the most common black, brown, gray, couple of whites, and ecru. And this one lives on my desk, near my stitchy spot, and I can always reach out and grab those, like I said, most common colors. Loved stitching this. We'll definitely come back and have a look at her designs and stitch something else. She's got a whole series of star signs. She's got spooky cells with haunted houses. She has a book that's come out, I think, last year as well. So loads and loads to choose from. Next, I stitched my second Jeanette Douglas design, and this is the Acorn Shaker box. I stitched it on 32 count Belfast linen that I overdyed myself with liquid red dye. And it uses everything called for, which is 1 Gloriana that's in the border around everything, 1/2. And then all of the other colors are cotton hand dyed 2/2. I love this. I wanted to FFO it as a top of a round box, and luckily I have found, not even one, I found 3. So I got this set from Hobbycraft. There are 3, this is the largest, and it's about 15, I think, centimeters, the largest. And they use, they are, you know, light color, so you can, you know, dye or stain them, paint or stain them. I used dark oak stainer, which is my favorite for all of the things living in my hobby room, and then I waxed it with Furniture Beeswax. This one has a bit of stuff in it for now, and I've done the inside as well. And these bits are glued together, so some of it doesn't get stained as well as other parts. And then I just used a cord around the design. And then I've been meaning to re-FFO it anyways. The first ever Jeanette Douglas design I stitched was Pumpkin Pincushion. And you might have seen it on this cardboard box covered in some light linen that was a bit shabby and used up already. So the medium size from this trio was perfectly fitting this pumpkin pincushion design. So again, I just stained it, added beeswax at the end, put it on top, and added a cord. The only difference is because this one had already been FFO'd, it had more padding in it, and I found it a bit too much. So the Acorn Shaker box is a bit flatter than this, but I do love them both. And this box now hosts all of the specialty flosses for Siri from Make It Pink. So I've got all of the Cryonics here, including the ones that are empty, because I'm trying to keep track of the empty spools. It has all of the Gutermann flosses that I swapped the triple backstitch for. And so yeah, it's all in one spot now, and it's lovely. Lives in my desk, and I'm enjoying looking at it every single day. Next, I'll show you a series of designs, some of which I stitched this year, some of which I stitched in previous years. So in 2024, I stitched Violin Ornament by Dimensions. And the base for these, again, I got it from Hobbycraft, has been living in my stash for years and years. I bought these specifically so I could FFO this series in them. And I've just done like a pin keep kind of FFOing here, and just added the red felt from the kit for each of them. And they're slightly different size, they're slightly different shade of both felt and the fabric. So I don't know if they'll all be living somewhere together or separately. So like I said, this was the finish of 2024. And the whole series has been waiting for this to happen so I can FFO them. Then I did, a few years ago, I don't remember when exactly already, I did the mistletoe. Same exact FFO method. And I also did the French horn. And then, so by the time I was getting close to the violin one, I got really tired of these. They are small, but they're quite finicky, and there's a lot of sort of details in them. And I was absolutely blown away by my stitchy friend Masha, who I've mentioned before many, many times, who stitched the fourth design and offered it to me as a gift because I didn't want to stitch it anymore and I sold my kit. And so this is her gift to me, and I FFO'd it with the rest of them as well. It's the bells ornament, and that was such a beautiful, lovely thing of her to do. Love, love, love. And now they're finally done, and I can either keep them as, you know, individual designs, or I can staple the jute or to the back of the previous one, and they can be, you know, 4 in a row. I haven't decided yet. I was FFOing these kind of last few days of December, and I wasn't going to display them this year anymore anyway, so they'll be going into storage. But next year I am hoping to give them some love in terms of displaying them in my home. Next is an absolute win of this year, and again a discovery of a new designer. Like I said, Shepherd's Bush has taken over for me. I have decided I wanted to stitch cross-stitch stockings for both me and my husband, Christmas stockings. I've been looking at quite a few. I know Dimensions have quite a lot, but I wanted something slightly smaller that doesn't take as much time to stitch. So I've decided to stitch the Shepherd's Bush stockings, and they are just gorgeous and lovely. There's loads of designs, you can choose from all of them, definitely something that you love. So this one's going to be mine. This is Jeffrey's stocking. And the thing that I've changed about them is they're meant to be stitched on 18 count linen over 2 with size 5 pearl cotton flosses over dyed Zen DMC. I've changed fabric to 28 count casual linen and used embroidery thickness of the same colors. I think it's Weeks, Classic Colorworks, those, you know, those 3 major ones. And this way I have a smaller stocking, but still a very good size. I think they're about A4 size, maybe slightly larger. I used the backstitch from the pattern as a stencil sort of to cut it out and FFO it. And I used this lovely piping, and that's what I really wanted to use in these. My first ever sewn stocking as well. I was really intimidated to sew them, but I think they turned out really, really good. Then I quilted and used this lovely dark burgundy fabric on the back to match the colors in the design. And then I used the same fabric that I had left over as binding on the top. The inside has holly on mine. I think it's both holly and mistletoe. And I didn't add any loops on either of them because I'm not sure if we'll be hanging them. We have a kind of a fireplace here. We're not allowed to use it in the area that we live in anyways. So it's got some wooden. It's got some wood in it just for decoration, and we do have a mantelpiece that we've put there, but I'm not sure we'll be hanging them because of the cats. So yeah, you can buy embellishment packs separately with all the lovely buttons and charms, and I think it's just gorgeous. And I think they still look good even though the design is smaller and they are bigger in reference to it, but I love it. And you can use 1 fat quarter of 28 count to stitch 2 stockings this way. And then the second one is one I did for my husband. So this is Brett's stocking. But because he grew up next to sea in Lithuania, I felt like this would be best. I did ask him obviously before I stitched this. And I'm obsessed with the Three Kings theme, so it was perfect for that. Again, 28 count casual linen with embroidery weight 2/2, called for. Absolutely adore these. I think they're just gorgeous. This one I used this lovely mustard color on the back. Same piping, but again in mustard, and used the same fabric as on the back for the binding. And this one has this kind of yellow polka dot because I've messed something up and had to choose different fabric. They were meant to have the same color inside fabric that I had in stash for years, but yeah. So here they are together. Mine is slightly smaller, again, because this was the first try and this was second. So on second try, it turned out already better, but I love them. I think they're so beautiful. I'm so happy I stitched them. I'm not sure I'll be stitching anymore, though I did love it. But it's just the two of us with the two cats, so I don't know if anyone else from our family would want one. And they're quite quick and easy to stitch. The only thing is that even though I backed linen with iron-on interfacing, it still got crinkled because you have to obviously like turn the stocking inside out once you've sewn it together. But yeah, still absolutely love them. That's an absolute win. What I'm striving to do more in life, not just in stitching, is if there's something that I've always wanted to do but have been scared to or intimidated to, I am trying to brave the storm and just go into it. Next, I have two Nora Corbett designs I stitched in FFO this year. As you might remember, I stitched my first Mirabilia. I finished my first Mirabilia this year in April. I fell in love, loved the combination of flosses and beads, and I really wanted to stitch one of these kind of smaller ones. So I stitched Winter Hair in, I think, May, June. It was a lovely Mania start, I think. I'm forgetting now. I thought you don't want to hear the dates here in the FFO and finished parade. You just want to see the design. So it was finished at some point this year. That's all you need to know. They are from the Holiday in the Woods collection, I think, and she's got quite a few, but I'm stopping on these two. So this is Winter Hair. It's meant to be stitched on natural color linen. I've chosen Picture the Splash in color Dawn. The rest of it is totally called for. So there is 2 Cryonics, 2 colors of beads, the leaves, what else? Whisper, and 1 silk, 1 Karen Watt Lily silk in the background here, the green and teal. And I just so happened to have these 2 frames at home. I had bought them to put some pictures in, just like family photos and stuff, and then decided against it. And they've been sat waiting, apparently, for these 2 lovely Nora designs. So, love, love, love. I just wanted to keep it sort of as a night scene. That's why I swapped the linen, and I feel like it's a really good choice as well. And then you have seen the start of it at the end of November, but here is my December finish, and this is Winter Owl from the same series. And this one actually has twice less stitching to do, so it was a good end of the year design to do. Same color silk, 1 Cryonic and 1 color of beads that are both different from the ones in the hair, but use the same green leaves. And I think you can get embellishment packs for both, but so the embellishment packs have 3 leaves each, obviously, for the design. But then if you're buying the leaves separately, I think there's only 2 in 1 pack, so you'll need 3 to stitch both of them. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. As we love to say. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I think the rest of my things are all FFO'd in frames. So next, and one of my favorite designers is Paradise Stitch. and I think you can find her designs on inspireuplift.com. This is cranes and bamboo from the seasonal series of Japanese umbrellas. She's got Japanese fans as well, and I think Chinese lanterns as well. So this is from the umbrellas series. I had stitched the summer design, and it's FFO'd as well. And so I think in February I finished this one and FFO'd it into this just very simple white frame because I wanted the design to pop and stand out, and the frame to just be, you know, sort of the background here. I stitched this on 32 count plain air Belfast, and all the called for DMC colors. There's no specialty threads here, but what she does is she uses a lot of different stitches in different number of strands. So there'll be half stitches in one strand, half stitches in two, crosses in one and two, and you have this absolutely stunning three-dimensional effect from that. Beautiful. You know me, I love everything to do with Japan, so they had to be stitched. And I love seasonal pieces, so I have the perfect spot for these in my living room, kind of between the living room door and the wall behind the sofa where all the cat things are and all of their climbing stairs and things. So I keep it right here, and I'm hoping to stitch the spring and autumn one soon, so I can have all 4 seasons and I can swap them over. Swap them out? Yeah, love this one. I miss her designs. I started one more this year but haven't progressed much, so I'm hoping maybe I'll have a bit more time and I'll come back to it soon. I will insert the picture here. I think I've forgotten 2 tiny ones because I don't have them on hand. There are 2 designs I stitched this year that I gifted. One of them was this tiny little beaded Mill Hill design called Rabbit, and I stitched it for my friend Maya, who has 4 rabbits of her own and loves everything to do with rabbits, and she has loads of sort of home decor with rabbits. And then the second design is a design from the Cross Stitcher magazine by Susan Penny called Ship in a Bottle, and it's a bookmark. I FFO'd it as a bookmark, though I stitched it on perforated paper instead of Ada from the kit, and I gifted it to my husband. We both love reading. He's got loads of books on the go usually, so he wanted this one and he's got it as a bookmark somewhere in his books. So I didn't want to rummage through his things, so I'm just inserting the picture here. And then we are going to look at a design that I finished last year but FFO'd only now. So this is 3 Crowns of 3 Kings by Brooks Books Designs. Brooks Books Publishing, not sure what the brand is called exactly. I absolutely love it, and it's a gorgeous design, and I've been meaning to FFO it. But you might have heard that unfortunately after years of battling cancer, Brooke passed away in December. This is definitely a loss for the community, obviously because we lost the designer herself, but also because we can no longer buy her pre-existing patterns. So the design though is absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, I am obsessed with the 3 Kings theme, and when I saw this one in her shop I fell in love, decided to stitch it all together, and I used 28 count Maron by Zweigart, which I think is a cotton and linen blend, and it uses all the called for except for the DMC memory threads, which you can no longer buy either. And I wasn't too bothered to do the kind of Kreinik wire conversion and do the couching with it, and I've just left it out. I think they look gorgeous as they are. There are so many Kreinik colors here, so lovely. I think there's more metallics here than DMC colors. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I've got a couple more 3 King designs, and I think they're going to look lovely together. And then I think we are looking at the last two, and I can't believe we might make it under an hour. Again, a new discovery and a new topic for me to stitch as well. I didn't used to stitch Halloween pretty much at all. Not that I have anything against it, but this year I've decided to stitch a Halloween design by Shepherd's Bush. So this is Garden Spells by Shepherd's Bush, and it's their kit. It was a bit of a long-winded story how I got it. I had to custom order it through an English store from the US. It took a while to get to me. Then some of the flosses were mixed up and I had to wait for them to sort it out and send me the replacement. But here we are. It's finished. It's fully finished as well. So I used everything called for and everything from the kit. This is Dudley Nightshade in 32 count, and it is Belfast. I don't know who the dyer is though. There's no information about that in the kit. The design is stitched with one strand of silk, and there's a few different brands of silk in there, over 2 on 32, and it's quite delicate and dainty. And I'm not used to stitching 1/2 on 32 count. If I ever stitch 1/2, it's usually on 36. But yeah, so it took a bit of getting used to, but I think it looks beautiful. And it's a different experience. Most of the things I do are 2/2, so this was fun. Except the whole band sampler on the side is stitched 1/1, or most of it. And the only reason I was able to do it is because I also treated myself to a proper stitchy light this year, and I got it from an English company called Daylight. Have been loving it ever since. The frame was solid black, but because it's wooden, I thought I could get away with just scratching it slightly with some sandpaper and getting this lovely shabby, spooky kind of effect. Again, another love. I've gotten so many more patterns and kits from Shepherd's Bush this year, and I'm hoping I'll be stitching more of it in the future. And then last, but obviously not least, I wanted to start strong and finish strong as well on a lovely piece. This is my first ever Mirabilia, and she is called Blossom. She's one of the newer ones the last few years. And I stitched her on 32 count Witchell that I overdyed with a liquid red dye. And I finished her in April, FFO'd her soon after, and here she is. So I've chosen this shiny kind of purple frame. It's darker in real life than you're seeing it because of the light reflections. It seems lighter. And the color really matches one of the darker purple colors in the design. She is stitched with everything called for. All of the beads, all of the flosses, and the only thing I've changed is all of the white on here, which is about 2,000 stitches. I thought it was boring to stitch in just white, and I've added a blending filament by Krynic, the iridescent one, in there just for fun. You can see it in person, but I'm not sure if it's translating on camera. But she's gorgeous. She definitely started a whole Mirabilia down the rabbit hole journey for me. I've fallen in love with them since. I've got 2 on the go. I've got more in my stash that I'm planning to stitch, definitely. But I am more of a newer Mirabilia design stitcher rather than the vintage ones. And thank God, because the patterns, the prices for those vintage patterns can go very, very high. Though I do have a couple that I really love from the vintage ones, and I have seen them on sale, but they, like I said, they're quite expensive. And they are the Seasonal Maidens, I think. There's 2 different booklets, well, 2 different patterns. Each of them has 2 seasons. So that was it. and it's not even dark fully yet, so I'm hoping you've seen everything that you wanted to see. These were all of my 2024 finishes and FFOs. I absolutely loved working on these and FFOing these. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. I think I'm just looking around quickly. I think I've shown you everything I have here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about the designers, materials, anything, any changes I've done to them, please feel free to get in touch with me in the comments below or on Instagram, or email me at mariathegreensstitcher@gmail.com. I thank you for your time, and thank you for supporting me in 2024. It was the year when I started my channel in English, though I have been stitching for a while, and I have a channel, Flosstube channel in Russian as well. Thank you for your support and your comments in 2024. I'm hoping that we will stick with each other for the new year as well, and I'll be sharing my hobby with you in the new year. I am planning to go on filming monthly update videos, and sometimes getting in the middle of the month with a different video as well. But we'll see how it goes. There's loads to do, and so I'm gonna go get to my stitching to hopefully show you some nice progress at the end of January. I hope you had wonderful holidays and you're safe and healthy wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.